physical substance called Newmar, the Greek word for breath. Newmar is a combination of air and fire, two of the four fundamental elements. Animals too, Newmar gives them movement and through everything. Objects have it. An axe has Newmar that gives it the power to cut. Plants have Newmar that makes them grow and reproduce. Animals too, Newmar gives them movement and perception. And we have Newmar in us. It makes your blood warm because it's fire. It makes your heart beat. It lets you think and be rational. It's what your soul is made of. And when you die, the Newmar leaves you. You get cold, you can't move or think anymore. The Newmar in you is dispersed back into the cosmos. Because the Newmar is blended through the universe, the same way it is in us, the universe itself is alive. And not only is it alive, the Stoics believed the universe is intelligent and it's happy, which I think is just a really sweet idea. The universe is thriving, she's smiling, she's happy to see you, she's moisturized, she's 4.5 billion years old, but she still looks great. If you read Stoic philosophy, including Marcus Aurelius, you'll notice that they use a lot of very big words interchangeably, like God, fate, the world, the universe, Zeus, the gods, the cosmos. The reason they do that is because in Stoic physics, those are all the same thing. And if I could briefly turn this show into Bible studies tube, any Christians in the audience might be thinking, this sounds awfully familiar. The Gospel according to John opens with the phrase, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God." In the original ancient Greek, that's en arche en ho logos, kai ho logos en proston theon, kai theos en ho logos. Logos is the Greek for word. John is saying that this Stoic idea, the force that orders the universe, is the same thing as the Christian God. If you translate that phrase into Latin, you get in principio erat verbum, which you can find carved on statues and churches around the world, and written above the gate of the school where I studied theology. By the way, if anyone in the audience is upset at my ancient language pronunciation, then I would simply remind you that Udeus hekon hamartane. Now, all of that. By the way, if anyone in the audience is upset. Now, by the way, if anyone in the audience is upset. Now, all of that physics is bollocks. There is no such thing as Newmar. The universe is getting less ordered over time. There are many more elements than 4. Your blood is warm because of chemical reactions in your body, and your heart beats because of electrical activity in your sinoatrial node. But the point is twofold. Firstly, Stoic philosophy was based on the latest science of the day. The science was wrong, but they weren't mystics or fools. The people of the ancient world were intelligent, just as much as me and you. High five! The second point is that Stoic physics informs Stoic ethics. When they said that your judgments need to align with reality, they mean the things that happen to you need to literally move your soul in such a way that it aligns with the world. When Marcus Aurelius said there is a share of the divine in all of us, he means it literally. These days, a lot of people would probably interpret that stuff as metaphor. I would hazard a guess that people getting into Stoicism now probably aren't engaging with the deep physics. They're using it as self-help, because Stoicism is supposed to make your life better, which brings us back to the obvious question, does it? Being Stoic is sometimes associated with toxic emotional repression, men having no feelings, never asking for help, becoming the perfect warrior, cold and ruthless, living by your strength alone, uninhibited by foolish emotions. This Dragon Ball Z. Masculinity is a subject about which I know more than I should, but less than some of you might think. I studied it for a number of years, but never quite had the natural talent. And I want to reach out to young men, help de-radicalize them, offer a positive role model. We're doing Left Tube again. Remember that from like 5 years ago? Well, we're gonna bring it back. Somebody call H-Bomber Guy. What's he up to these days?
What have I become?
This stoicism for bros, broicism, if you will, is based on a misunderstanding of what Stoics actually said. You can't get rid of all your feelings. For example, when I go too hard on a night out, I often get depressed the next day, and you can't philosophize your way out of a hangover. There are some emotions which are, for want of a better word, physiological, and a sage would still have those. It's not about having no feelings, it's about having feelings that align with reality. So the wise sage might say, I feel really depressed today, but I know that's just because I had a big night on Molly down at the Dawson Superstore. This too shall pass. Still, the Stoics described the sage as somebody who is never overwhelmed by strong emotions. Epictetus advised his followers to become so detached that they could treat the death of a child like the breaking of a cup. And you might think, oh, that doesn't sound like a particularly nice way to live. We can call this the romantic objection. Isn't it good sometimes to get carried away by passion? When the blood runs hot and the champagne is cold and you're alone in a hotel room with somebody who you probably shouldn't kiss, but you both feel like you just kind of have to. The romantic objection is that overwhelming passion is needed for a good life, and if you follow Stoicism, you'd be missing out on that. The Stoic response here is to pretty much bite the bullet and just say no. A good human life does not include moments of overwhelming passion, because if they're based on incorrect perceptions, they will lead you into trouble. You might feel as if, but you won't literally explode. You'll be sad, but you can probably live with that. When you have virtuous emotions, there's no overwhelming romance, but there's also no overwhelming grief or anxiety. Virtuous emotions are aligned with the real world, which is the best and indeed only place that human beings can live. If you're very clever, you'll already have noticed that there's a lot of overlap between Stoicism and CBT. That's cognitive behavioral therapy, not the other kind of CBT. CBT is a talk therapy invented in the 20th century, inspired by Stoicism. Patients are encouraged to identify underlying beliefs which might be affecting them, and substitute those beliefs for something else. So just like Stoicism, it focuses on the cognitive element of emotion. CBT is what I was sent for when I went through that breakup. I was very depressed, and my therapist encouraged me to find the belief underneath that depression. Eventually, we wrote it down. And I thought, that isn't true. So what if we substitute that for something else? At one point, I asked her, but why do I feel this way? And she said, well, does it really matter? We could spend years psychoanalyzing your dreams or your childhood, and eventually we'll come up with something like, oh, your mother didn't breastfeed you enough as a child, or whatever. But you're still going to be left with the same question which brought you to therapy in the first place, namely, what are you going to do now? Are you going to accept the real world or not? And this leads us to a criticism of both CBT and Stoicism. Is there a danger that we're encouraging people to accept things that they really shouldn't have to? Hi, I'm Kelly Slaughter, the founder and CEO of Psyopy. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm also a mom, and I know that juggling all those responsibilities can cause stress. Stress is the #1 cause of employee sick leave in America. So what if there is a way to hack your stress response, reducing employee stress whilst keeping them in work? Introducing Psyopy, a solution for your business, whether you're a multinational conglomerate or a mom and pop store. Our story began when I was running my previous company, Express. We were making facial recognition software for law enforcement, and a number of employees came to see me in my office and said they were experiencing stress. They didn't agree with the work we were doing. They wanted to change their conditions. They even threatened me with unionization. And at the time, I was also experiencing stress because I was in the process of buying a third home, so I was really able to sympathize. I started reading about the scientific causes of stress, and I learned that stress is caused when an individual reacts negatively to challenges. And I thought, what if there was a way to reduce employee stress without compromising productivity? That's when I had the idea for PsyP. PsyP uses artificial intelligence to bring the practice of cognitive behavioral therapy to your workplace. When faced with the problem of employee stress, a lot of founders use these patronizing solutions like putting a ping pong table in the office or letting employees pet a dog. Those solutions don't work. Cognitive behavioral therapy is where scientific study meets ancient wisdom, a solution that works. When your business signs up to PsyP, you'll gain access to our suite of software apps, including our artificially intelligent therapist. Employees can schedule regular sessions to hack their stress, and our AI therapist offers genuine solutions. Employees can stay in work while they stress hack. You can also set measurable goals for them to work towards, and PsyP will monitor their progress outside of sessions. PsyP is proven to minimize employee absence due to sickness and helps create a healthier, happier working environment. As a mom, it's my belief that you can't put a price on health. PsyP starts at $12,997 a month per employee, so don't delay. Use PsyP for your business today. The British philosopher Mark Fisher said it's no surprise that people feel anxious, angry, and stressed when capitalism works us and the planet